Live.
Hello and welcome to Sacred U's Innovate, Inspire, and Ignite Conversations That Count. Today we have an amazing topic. It's rediscovering your mission and your mojo. I'm Jennifer Regular, the Soul Illuminator at Lighting the Path, and also a very, very proud member of our sacred community. And I am here with the privilege of facilitating this discussion tonight with the most incredible women on board to talk about this mission and the mojo and how to rediscover that, especially if you're at a crossroads in your life, in your business, and you just don't have that oomph. You don't feel like yourself anymore. You don't feel like you're inspired and motivated and driven like you normally are. So how can we get that mojo back? How can we realign with our personal mission and really have the impact that we came here to have? But more importantly, express the person that we've always known ourselves to be and who we are becoming. So I'm going to roll it over to our amazing panelists and you can get to know them. And I want to ask each and every one of them, hey, what is your mission? What is your driving force? That's what I want to know. That's what we all want to know. And so that we can feel inspired again, too. So let me call on Helen. I know this is your first panel, Helen, so welcome.
Thank you. So my mission is to really help women connect back to who they truly are. So there's so many shoulds, isn't there? Society puts all these shoulds on us. We put shoulds on ourselves. So it's about getting rid of all the shoulds, reconnecting back to who they really are. And when you do that, you're also going to reignite your intuition. And your intuition is what guides you. It's what makes you trust your decisions. And when you trust your decisions, your day-to-day life is easier. When your day-to-day life is easier, you can then create this amazing life that you want. You get to just be, and then the doing becomes easy. So that's, yeah, I want to help all women who are feeling a little bit lost and they want to just get back to being who they are. Because when you are who you are, everything else just falls into place.
Yes, absolutely. I so agree with that. Claudia, what's your take on this? What is your driving force?
Thank you, Jennifer, and hi, everyone. My driving force is to serve people and also to show them how powerful they actually are, because I think people forget that they are powerless, they feel hopeless, helpless, not realizing that they're giving their power away when actually they are powerful and they don't connect or trust themselves enough. So my mission is to help people see that in themselves, that they are powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah, to kind of turn the spotlight back on them and yeah, recognizing their power and being able to feel empowered and really embody who they came here to be. Love it, love it, love it. Rachel, what about you? What's your mission? I know you're just here as a panelist. You don't have to talk, but I'm interested. So if you want to share, you can. Otherwise, but you are on mute.
I guess I didn't really pre-think about this question, so
Yeah, that's okay.
it's not that I don't have a mission, I just haven't thought of a answer. But definitely to inspire people in a very in a broad way to answer this question, to inspire people, to help people know how powerful and loved they are, and to just allow whatever gift is in me to be realized so that it can be used for other people's good as well.
Yes, I love that. See, Rachel is one of our amazing guests who decided to join us in the Zoom room. So this is a chance that we get to interact with each other as well. So I encourage anyone who's just watching on one of the many channels this is streaming on to also join us in the Zoom room so we can interact a little bit. And you never know what's going to come up for you. And once, like Rachel just did declare, their mission and being inspired and what it's all about, then there's just this energy that comes about to really support it when we're in a group like this. So we also have empath coach Sue Rumack. And Sue, What inspired you on this mission for empowering empaths?
I think basically it's the overwhelm that empaths tend to experience in every aspect of their lives unless they know how to manage the energy that is all around them. And I teach that. I love it. I've lived it. I didn't know I was an empath. I've been an empath my entire life, as has everybody, as everybody, every other empath. But I don't think that most people who are highly sensitive realize that there is a brain anomaly that makes them super sensitive. I'm not going to go into that right this minute. But what inspired me to become an empath is to help to alleviate the pain and the suffering and the overwhelm and the loss of self that empaths experience, not knowing how to control their incredible gift. So that's why I became an empath trainer. And I didn't find that until probably about, I would say probably maybe 8 years into my career as being an empath. And I've been an empath close to an empath trainer, coach, life coach for close to 18 years. So it was kind of, I fell into it and here I am.
Here you are. Here
It's
you
my
are. What do you
happiness.
think the actual driving force was in all of that, Sue?
I'm a channeler, and that's something else I didn't find out until I was in my mid-50s. I've been channeling all my life. I just didn't know that's what I was doing. And I asked my guides, why am I here? What's my purpose? You know, that's a big question you ask the big person in the sky. What's my purpose? And it is basically to bring through healing messages for mankind. And the messages that come through beautiful, incredible, not crazy making, just basic common sense, beautiful healing messages that everybody can access in. Well, they give it to me in simple language, and I give it to everybody else in simple language, and I bring it through in my coaching as well. I don't save it for those special moments when I'm now going to say, share it. Everyday coaching, it just comes through all the time.
I love that. I love it. And it feels like such a natural way to be and to work and to serve in this world. Sky, what's your mission? What's your driving force?
Amazing question. So my mission and my driving force is just to really help, women and people in general, just to really connect back to all of who they are. So as a shadow integration specialist, my mission there is to help people almost dive into the darkness, all the parts that they are taught that are bad and wrong, all the suppression from all of the generations. So I really specialize in like generational healing and past life healing as well, which helps to overcome the overwhelming fear of, prosecution, fear of judgment, as Helen said, like all the shoulds, like, we should be this and we should be that. And, kind of feel like leaves you feeling like there's like a thing missing, like there's a massive hole in your chest. And, you're sort of a condition that doing all the shoulds are supposed to like fulfill you, and you're not feeling fulfilled and you feel like there's something missing. You don't know what that thing is, so yeah, my real driving force is to help people connect back to those things, connect back to their ancestry, connect back to the inner witch, if you want to sort of say, so they can really connect back into their power and do what they want to do, not what everyone else tells them they should be doing. And without the fear and without the overwhelm and without the judgment of all the, people that want to keep you small, keep you meek, keep you like quiet, all of those sort of things, and really come into, the true power of who we are and being able to then bring that forward in today's world, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. To bring it into the world, like it's time to bring it, people, who we are and our gifts and our inspirations and what we're meant to be doing here. For me, I've just been really driven by the desire and the need for co-creating global harmony, to come into harmony with ourselves, with each other, with the planet, with the connection of all our relations, to really harmonize in all of that. And that's been a real driving force. And I think my deepest desire too has been to help people recognize that each and every one of you has a purpose and that you are meant for this world. And that in my work has taken so many different forms over the years, but it's always been expressed in a way that guides the destiny of souls into their most empowered way of being. And it's really determining our destiny by freeing our spirit to direct the life we're meant to live. And I feel like for the people I work with, the visionaries, it's their energy and their passion that create the greatest impact. And the way I see passion, when you break up the word, it's pass I on. That I being your soul's expression of what you're here to pass on in this lifetime. So it can take many different forms and shapes and experiences and roles that we take on, but it's your energy, your passion that's expressed through whatever that role is. And that's what I help people get in touch with. And that's how we can create global harmony when we're all singing our soul song, when we're expressing ourselves at that soul level and really freeing our spirit to direct the life we're meant to live. So we're aligning with our true destiny of who we truly are. So that's been my mission. That's my mojo that keeps me going, is that I believe it's possible 100%. But it hasn't always been that way. I've had to realign myself. I've noticed when I've gotten out of alignment, when I've lost meaning and didn't feel like I had purpose, I didn't feel inspired. And that's what I wanted to talk about too. If you guys ever felt that way, where you felt you've lost meaning or you were doing something that didn't feel true to who you were, what your values were, and what you were meant to be doing. Did you ever feel like you lost meaning and purpose in your life? Helen, has that happened?
Yeah, absolutely. It happened later in my life after I had kids, because I've always been this very, very shy person who's sort of hid in the background, and you can get along really quite nicely in life hiding in the background if it's just, it's okay. I'll just potter along and I'll do what I need to do. And then when I had kids, it was a big rude awakening for me. I thought, oh yeah, life's easy. Kids, that'll be easy too. But anyone who's had kids knows that's not the case. And I found myself, I completely lost who I was. I was either a mum, a wife, or an employee, and that was it. There was no outside of that. And that in itself just made the days just seem to just go into each other. There was no fun in my life anymore. I turned into this very angry person. I didn't like how I was being a mum. I didn't like how I was being a wife. I didn't like how I was being an employee either. It was very, my life was beige. It had just lost all meaning. It had lost all fun and everything. And, I'm supposed to be enjoying this time because I'm a mum and I get to stay at home with my children. I'm supposed to be being grateful for everything that I have, but I didn't feel grateful, and so there was a real disconnect in there. And so basically I came to that crossroads. Like you were saying, everyone comes to a crossroads, and that choice point, I can continue down the beige path, and God willing, I've got another 40 years left on the planet, and that's how it'll be, or I don't. And I made that decision that I don't want my future to be this. And I didn't want it for my kids. I didn't want it for my husband. I could see how I was affecting everyone, as we do. Our energy affects everyone around us. So I didn't know how I was going to change that. I just knew that I had to. And then when you make that decision, there's so much power in a decision. When you make it, your energy is firm. It's not split. Will I, won't I? What if I do? What if I don't? I should, I shouldn't. It's nice and firm. And then that then led me to where I am today, which I'm a creatrix transformologist. And it's a beautiful process designed just for women. It works like that. It turned my life around on a dime. And I haven't looked back. And so that's what I want other women to know as well, that it can be fast. Change doesn't have to be slow. Change doesn't have to take years and years and years and years and years. It can actually be fast. And if that's what you want, go for it, because you've only got limited amount on this earth. We don't know how much time we've got, whether I've got another 5 years or 5 minutes, so it's about putting yourself first, and that's all that has to happen. You just got to decide you want to be your best version of you. When you're your best version of you, you are the best version for others. You give them permission, and it creates this ripple. We're always influencing people. It's either feeling good and influencing at that level, or we're feeling shit and we're influencing, sorry, didn't mean to swear. We're influencing at that level. Do you know what I mean? But we have an influence. So it's just choosing, what do you want your influence to be? What do you want it to look like? And then allowing as well, allowing whatever comes in your path, have your eyes open and grab it.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. And it's overcoming through conscious choice. That's self-awareness first, and then conscious choice and making the decision. And that's how you overcome anything, because then you've decided, you've taken it back power, and you set forth the direction. And then, like you said, all that energy, the resources, everything that you need to support it comes in. And then you get to start building this momentum. And there's like this whole rebirth that happens. It's a cycle of transformation, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything starts with a choice.
Yes. And Rachel, our guest, saying she loves it so much. Helen, she's resonating with that. Thank you so much for that
Good.
comment,
I'm
Rachel.
glad.
Yeah, I'd love to hear anyone that's watching as well. If you have any comments, if there's questions, even for our panelists, we're looking out for those too. So, Sky, what's come up for you? Was there a period in your life where you lost meaning and purpose?
Yeah, most definitely. And like Helen, my story is quite aligned in that. It was, about a similar time I had my children, and sort of, yeah, I just completely lost in a sense of who I was, or, as I said before, hang on a minute, I thought this was supposed to be what I'm supposed to be doing. This was supposed to be fulfilling me. And yeah, as like Helen said, I was a mum or I was a wife, and that was it. And it was just like, well, who am I then? Who am I outside of these people and these identities? And and I kind of went on went on a really long journey, because at the time I also had like this massive sort of spiritual awakening, and I didn't want to go back into my muggle job at the end of the day. I found that was a very unhealthy environment for me. So I went down a path of like learning and discovering and, changing and adapting. And I went, down this way and I went down that way. And there's been, a real couple of times where even like last year, where I kind of felt like I'd sort of lost sort of my path, or didn't really feel that I was doing what I was being here to do, essentially. And I had to sort of take a real step back and sort of move back into alignment. And a lot of it comes from, as sort of all of us have said, is not listening to what anyone else really sort of tells you that you should be doing, and actually going, hang on a minute, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Am I living in this alignment? How do I, get back to that meaning and purpose? As I have a beautiful podcast, my podcast partner and I, and like we reference Beige Land quite a lot. It's just like, do you really want to live in Beige Land, or or do you want to actually, do something where you're waking up and enjoying life every day, and that it has meaning and that it has purpose? And yeah, so I think nearly 2 years ago, I came out of the closet as a shadow specialist and a witch, and I haven't looked back since. And that's the most in alignment I've been, because yeah, at the end of the day, I will admit, I was listening to business coaches and all these people that are like, oh no one will understand what you mean if you say these things. You need to, and it was just like, and that was again being sort of like, oh, you should be doing this and all of that sort of stuff. And that was really not in alignment with where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So being able to really take that step back and go, hang on a minute here. And since then I haven't looked back, and it's this is what I'm doing. Take it or leave
And
it
it's
type
true.
sort of thing. Yeah.
There really is a point of no return. And I find even when you use your language, even if people don't understand, what that's about, then there's a resonance still. There's a
Yeah.
presence, there's an energetic, there's a power, and they may not know the term, but they are attracted to you and what you're doing anyway, because you are being true to yourself. So there is that alignment, and people pick up on that. People pick up on when something is off or out of alignment, or when you're being in your truth and being fully present and sincere and in integrity of who you are and what your values are and how you're here to serve. And that balance, I think a better word for balance is that alignment, because balance is like a split second. Anything here or there, you're off balance, right? But coming into alignment, coming into that kind of balance comes from living your truth, 100% living your truth, and then you get to be, like Helen alluded to earlier, about being the best version of yourself, giving the best of you rather than what's left of you. Right? Because going against the grain, not living up into your potential is exhausting. It's draining, you're deflecting and protecting and out of your power, trying to grasp at something that drains your energy. Right? And it's depressing, and anxiety comes up. You're reacting to life instead of embodying it or responding to it. And you become numb and frazzled and overwhelmed, all because trying to meet some outside expectations, or even things that we think are an expectation, it might not even be, so that we can fit in or belong or make things work. And that's making things work. It's really more about being effortless, right? And things happening naturally and unfolding, and like was mentioned earlier, about allowing and surrendering to the process, and really, like I've been saying, free your spirit to direct the life that you're meant to live, that spirit, that energy, that essence of who you truly are. And what does that mean for you, Claudia? Have you ever lost that sense of purpose and meaning in your life?
Jennifer, before I founded my company, Nourish Ways, and before I became a holistic wellness coach and studied life coaching, I was a teacher. And there was only so much growth that happened in my teaching career. And I taught for 20 years. And during that time, I always, as much as I loved teaching, I wanted to do more and be more. And teaching is a wonderful job and it's a calling. However, I needed to go into the spiritual space and reflect in and go into my spiritual bank, because that's a part of myself that I was neglecting. I was being a teacher and doing my job and loving the children, but I needed more. And this is what I'm doing now, following my spiritual path. I had to go into my spiritual bank and do the inner work so I could live my purpose. Yes, teaching was part of my journey, but I found that doing this work, I'm more fulfilled now, 20 years on. I mean, growth is not just, it's not linear, we up and down, up and down. And while I was teaching, I thought, well, there's more, but it was comfortable and it was a safe space. And when you're teaching for so long, you actually think, you don't believe that, that you actually want to do something else, because this is all you know, and I'm going to do this till I die. But it just wasn't enough for me. And I do take my hat off to teachers who they teach till they retire.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I needed the change and follow this path now and trust myself and take that leap of faith and trust in the process that this is what I want to do, and still giving back and still being of service in another way in my coaching business.
Yes. So good. So good. And I find that there's a lot of people that have been shifting out of corporate or career into their calling, that feeling, that sense of there's something more, there's something different that they wanted to be offering, that there's still something waking up inside of them, and being curious about what that is and following that call. and then recognizing what else is possible and how things can get even better and better still, and grow and evolve and actually self-realize. And like you say, Claudia, that comes from the inner work. The inner work is what makes the outer work effortless, and where we have that outer mastery that we continue on. But it all starts from inside and recognizing who we are and how we express ourselves. Again, no matter what we're doing, but finding what our potency is, right? Because we gather all these skills and abilities, and we might be good at a lot of different things. Many multi-passionates are, right? And then we get to find out what our potency is, where we have the most influence, the most impact, the most fulfillment ourselves from what we're doing and how we're doing it. So, yeah, I love that story. Sue, I'm curious what your story is. Have you lost meaning and purpose in your life, and how did you get that back?
Well, it's interesting because I've discovered over a long period of time, obviously, that we go through many different cycles of losing our sense of purpose and our direction. And what I've discovered over the years is that for me, it seems to run on a 10-year cycle. And it's always a loss of passion, direction is always triggered by some kind of trauma, a personal trauma, a health trauma, a career trauma, identity crisis, that kind of thing. But I find with my clients as well, especially that they go through these 10-year cycles. Now, some it might be a 7, some might be, but if you track your own personal history, you'll discover that there have been places in time where your own energy was so dysregulated that you weren't in sync with yourself. And you have to ask yourself, what was it that caused this dysregulation? What was it that shook me up? And for some, it's career. For some, it's recognizing that no matter what I do in this job I've chosen that I know I love, or this family that I adore, it isn't resonating with me as a human being. Not at this time, though it did before. I've been a mother. I'm a grandmother. Someday I hope to be a great grandmother. And what I've discovered, and I've been married and I've been divorced. And what I've discovered is that at times we are in sync with people around us. They give us purpose. Our children, our husbands, our work, they give us purpose until something in us does a little bit of a glitch, a little bit of a switch. And then all of a sudden, all the energy that we take so much joy from, all of a sudden now becomes almost like an attacker, threatening who we are. And I've discovered that when that happens, we have to give ourselves permission to step back from who we thought we were into a space of curiosity. And as everybody has said, that place of inner work, that place of connection, that place of gratitude, that place of anger, that place of amazement. And for each person, it's going to be different. And it could be all of them in different sequences. And recognizing that when you use a piece of yourself, you have to go through the healing process, which has its 7 steps. And recognizing that those 7 steps, sometimes they happen, sometimes it can take for you to find yourself. And you have to be gentle on yourself through the process. As Helen said, and Sky said, Claudia, and you, Jennifer, sometimes that change comes really fast. It's like giving birth to a baby in like 10 minutes without any labor. Other times you've got that 48-hour labor and you're dying for a C-section.
Yeah.
But whenever that happens, it's giving yourself that space, let it unfold. So you're not forcing purpose that's coming to you. These purposes have always been there. They've always been waiting, like Sky says, in the shadows. And you have to go through some birthing pains to find them. But once you do that new direction that you headed off in, and I can tell you, I've headed off in so many different directions. I've been reborn at least 5 times. Like I said, over 10-year cycles. That's 50 years worth of messing around with my purpose and my direction. And each time it's been an incredible roller coaster ride. Highs, lows, all of that. Wouldn't have given up any one of them, even though most of them have been, because where they took in the process always ended up being beauty in the life that we've been given, and total gratitude for all of it. So I could talk forever, but I think maybe I shouldn't.
So what happens? And in 10-year cycles, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 years like this.
Yeah, and then we get to cycle around again, but with newer knowledge, with more evolution, you know, and and I love that you mentioned about being in sync as well, or getting out of sync, because and then having that movement from that, because when we can get in sync, when we can actually feel the rhythm, then we build the momentum. So really connecting with the energy that's moving us, the core essence, the spirit that moves us, and building the momentum from that. And an important thing to recognize with that too is that when we are moving and moving forward and everything feels right and we're building that momentum, we're also going to get hit by resistance, right? Because that's the law of physics. When we're building momentum, there's some resistance. So to practice discernment, to know when it's like not getting confused about when it's the wrong direction or that it's not working and getting frustrated, or just noticing that there's just a little bit of resistance, something to accept or something to investigate a little bit more, explore a little bit more, and to keep going,
Well,
with that, right?
I
Yeah.
think that each person's journey is so unique.
Yes, it is.
And yes, there will be resistance. And I've never found that any direction was the wrong direction. It's never been a
Mhm.
wrong direction. They've
Right.
always taken me to the next leaping off place. It's never been a wrong direction. Even though jumping between moving trains in the mountains in Spain, because I was on the wrong train, needed to be someplace else at a certain time, might not have been my best choice. I did it anyway because it was another one of those leaps. And I'm not saying risk your life, but I think that we have to become intrepid. We have to become fearless, even though we're
Mm.
terrified, to take whatever leap shows up, because it's given as an opportunity to test our readiness next.
Yes. Yes,
And that's
absolutely.
okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sue. Thank you for that.
That's
And
like,
there's a saying that's like becoming more and more well known, and that's about how rejection is actually just redirection, right? Rejection is redirection. So it's just moving you along to where you need to be, and to embrace that, and to recognize that and find power in the pivots. You're right, Sue. There's no wrong directions. It's just a redirection or a pivot, and to find the power in that and to embrace it. It's like, oh, okay, this way. You know, it's like a little nudge in another direction. Rachel, as our guest today, I'm curious because you are here. Has there been a loss of meaning or purpose in your life? What are you feeling into right now? If you don't mind sharing, if you don't have to, if you don't want to.
Um, I've most definitely gone through periods of my life where I felt extremely lost and purposeless, and that in itself has been a driving force to try to discover who I am, and I'm constantly asking what my purpose is, and I'm trying to find answers. I never really thought of it in the phrase beige before, like a couple of you ladies mentioned, but that's a really, really good description. And I don't feel like I'm in the beige phase at the moment. I'm happy and in a good place, but I also feel like I'm not living out my purpose. So while I'm not in a place of extreme anxiety or depression like I was at one point, I'm kind of in between, kind of at a crossroads of really taking a step into what I'm really, really here for,
Mm.
and still feeling a little bit unsure, or still massively working on my self-belief and and recognizing that, hey, I have gifts as much as anybody else, and that, you know, it's not like everybody else does and I don't, which I think I've kind of subconsciously felt for a long time, that somehow I am flawed more than the average person, but I know that isn't true, and I'm learning that, and I'm accepting that too. But most definitely that sense of feeling like deep in my soul that I'm here for so much more, but sometimes just not knowing the first step, or whether it's the first step or whether it's choosing something out of the plethora of things that I'm attracted to, because there's so many, and that in itself can sometimes be overwhelming. But I'm really loving sitting here listening to all of you. It's extremely amazing. You're all just inspiring me so much, and I'm really grateful that I got to join this with you. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for sharing, Rachel. And yeah, that verge of something big, being at that crossroads, an exciting place of an intimidating place of, you know, which direction to go, what kind of choice to make, and being in that place of uncertainty and building confidence and trust in the process of what's unfolding before you, and being able to bear witness to that and feel the attraction to what you're drawn to, what you're feeling pulled towards, and what's waking up inside of you, and being really nourishing around that, and showing up to like discussions like this, and being surrounded in support and feeling inspired, which is the utmost compliment. So I'm so grateful that you're here. And actually, I'm really curious about that inspiration, because that can be a real driving force too, and open up so much possibility for us. So let's talk about that a little bit, actually, these inspirations. Claudia, what inspires you the most?
Jennifer, the other day I actually came across a quote, and I'm not sure who said it, but it reads, "To inspire people, don't show them your superpowers, show them theirs."
Yes.
That's what inspires me in my work, and in, you know, the work that I do and the people that I come into contact with, whether I'm doing a workshop or just a one-on-one coaching session. The inspiration comes from them, actually. I'm inspired by them, and that's what, you know, is also a part of the driving force. When you show them their superpowers, and when they like click and have that aha moment, it's actually, it's rewarding, but to see that they've actually got it in them, you know, that they don't realize it, and it's something, maybe some people take it for granted. People don't realize that all the answers are inside, you know, but because we're disconnected, we don't see our own superpowers. So to show them their superpowers, I think, is something quite inspiring for me.
Absolutely. That's so good. It makes me think too, because one of the things that really inspires me is seeing the sparkle come back in people's eyes, you know, and that makes me so excited. It makes me so happy to see that sparkle in their eyes. I'm going to share
Exactly.
something that Sue, wrote in the chat here too. She says, my guides, her guides, Sue's guides, answered the question about purpose. And they said that we are here to be, to experience, to simply take what leads us to our next step. And that's it, just our next step. Our purpose is always in play. Well, that's fun. We don't actually need to know what our purpose is. Yeah, totally. It will be fulfilled within your lifetime. This is from the guides, from Sue's guides that she just channeled through, that was in the chat here. So think about that. It's just to be. And we'll be shown the next step. And do we have the courage and the willingness and the curiosity to take that step? Where will it lead? What can be better than this, where we are exactly where we are right now? And our future is going to actually be fulfilled. That's kind of fun. Yeah, yeah. So Sue, do you want to say a little bit more about inspiration? What inspires you the most?
You know, back in the day, I always thought that it was my family, my husband, the work that I did. Um, and I've discovered over time that there's an underlying vibration that that is like a flowing river. And it doesn't matter where I am in my life, if I dip into that river and it's just allowing myself to go silent, allowing myself to be quiet inside myself. And I don't have to be in nature. I don't have to be sitting in a salt bath. I don't have to be at a retreat, much as I would love to be at a retreat. It's taking myself to that inner quiet place that that it just kind of wakes me up again. It infuses me with whatever it is that I need at that moment. And every time I need inspiration, it's a different kind of inspiration. It's never always the same. So taking myself to that quiet place inside myself and teaching people how to do that for themselves, that gives me huge excitement. I do a little happy dance. You can see my living room behind me. That's not a stage. That's not a screaming thing. That's actually my living room. I do this little happy dance and I hold my crystal. And um, I get really inspired when I can take somebody else to that place so they can get back to themselves anytime they want. And I've been doing it all the time. And people come back to me and say that that's what keeps them going, knowing they can go back to that quiet place just to recharge. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. It does. Helen, what inspires you the most?
Well, the same as these ladies, seeing somebody else realize, it's so easy for us to see the great qualities in other people, but we don't always see them in ourselves, do we? And I love what you were saying, Claudia. I wrote that down. I love that quote. It's beautiful, and taking it that one step further where we can see it in them, but when they see it for themselves and they get that little penny drop and it's just like, oh yeah, now I
Helen kind of froze in that moment. It's just like, yes. And it's just like they're
that
in that space right now.
feeling. Oh,
Helen,
did
we
I
were
just
cutting
lose
out a
you a
little
little
bit,
bit
but
there?
yeah, I think you can continue now.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, my little Wi-Fi was just doing the thing where it was cut out.
Yes.
But what I was saying is that it's that feeling, isn't it? That women are driven by the feeling. The money, the success, it comes. It's the feeling that makes us get up out of bed. It's having that fulfillment that gives us that drive and that purpose. And seeing people, I'm working with a lady at the moment who her self-esteem is so low and she never saw herself as anything but weird and annoying, to now see herself as, well, yeah, I am weird, but I'm different. I'm not weird. Do you know what I mean? I'm unique. I have all these amazing skills that I bring. And seeing that flip and seeing the ripple that it causes on her little children and on her partner, that just floats my boat. And I will get out of bed any day of the week to see that impact and to have that feeling, knowing that I've helped her and she's changed her life.
Yay. Change is good. Change
Change
is
is good.
awesome.
Change is
Yes.
always happening. You embrace it or you fight it.
That's true. So true. So true. Sky, I'm curious about what inspires you the most.
Well, like everyone's repeating. Pretty much exactly the same as what everyone has said is like, yeah, when I see like one of the things that inspires me the most is that when I see clients that I work with that just like fully know who they are or own who they are and step into that power and like have that realization, the penny drop, all those sort of things, you know, like part of my mission is to, you know, obviously help and guide for people to heal, but also, you know, teach them that, like as Claudia said, all the answers are within them and teach them how to tap into that themselves, you know. So yeah, and when they really like sort of get that, then that's like the really big aha moment that it's like, oh, I don't need to be, you know, relying on people or whatever the story is that they're telling themselves. It's like I can actually just tune into myself and trust that whatever comes through is what's right for me. You know, so that's definitely watching sort of, yeah, my clients really transform, really inspires me. And like I said, it's like that feeling state is just like, yeah, you know, as well as like my children, like, you know, watching them, but also having conversations like this, being in community, being with people, really sort of talking and, you know, about all the different things that everyone is doing and, you know, how they are in service and, you know, and having that real support community around, you know, that sort of is one thing that really inspires me as well, you know, and having, yeah, that support, something that I know a lot of people felt like they've lost, you know, they don't have their tribe or, you know, so being in, you know, in community and in circle is something that sort of really inspires me to sort of, yeah, and that's that really alignment to go, yep, this is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Yes, trusting and having faith that you're exactly where you need to be, doing what you need to be doing. Yeah, absolutely. And having that faith. I love the acronym that you can use for faith, which is finding answers in the heart. And we've been talking today, Sue and Sky and others have mentioned too, about being tuned in, being in sync, being in alignment, and to be able to continue to be inspired, to stay in alignment with our personal mission. What would it take? What sustains you on your path, sustains you in moving forward to sustain the momentum? Helen, what are your thoughts around that? How do you sustain yourself?
It's really having a big overarching sort of it's not even a goal, it's just a belief that, you know, every woman deserves to shine. Every woman has the ability to do that. And when she does, I firmly believe that when we are all in our own power, being who we are, it just is going to lift everyone around us. We have such influence when, even if we don't think we've got influence, we have influence. And we influence our friends and our family, our children, you know, we influence every single person we come into contact with. And just knowing that I can help people to be who they are so that they can go on and have their own little ripple. And it's all these little ripples that creates this massive ripple. And we're just it's gonna make the world a better place. But you've got to start with you. You've got to start with you first, looking after you. And it's not selfish. You've got to look after you. You can't pour from an empty cup. So just having that whole, you know, the more I can help lift women up, the more the world's going to be a better place.
Yes, the world is becoming a better place because we are co-creating global harmony. We are harmonizing with our heart song, who we truly are, our truth, and with each other. And we're coming in opposite ends of the world right now. Even we have Australia and Canada, and coming together in this way to in unity, in harmony, in community, being able to commune with each other and harmonize our beliefs and our values and our views. And like we say, we're almost like repeating each other because we know the truth, right? Of what's real and
We're all
how
on the
that can
same
actually sustain
mission,
our reality. Yeah, on the same mission.
doing it our own way, which is
Yes,
how it
exactly.
works.
Exactly. And that's what I feel is such a strong call to, because we've been on these individual missions for so long. And that's what really inspires and sustains me is the collective mission now all of us coming together more and more and amplifying that energy and radiating that joy, that truth, that, yeah, I get pretty excited about all of it. So what sustains you, Claudia? How do you keep things going? How do you keep that momentum and aligned with your mission?
I think to remain curious and open, that I can always learn, learning every day, learning every moment, and just being open to that. And also knowing at the same time, I'm adding value, I'm contributing, which makes me happy, which fulfills me. But I think just keeping an open mind, and this is not the end, coaching, doing holistic wellness. There's more, I know that there's more to come and more to give. And I'm excited.
Yes, it's unlimited. It's infinite. There's always more. And being resourceful enough to resource yourself to sustain you. Sue, what sustains you in your mission?
Unmute. Okay. Oh, I love that. Unmute. There you go. That's what sustains me. I'm always led. In every way, I'm always led. I think that being given the freedom to be who I am, to share that with my clients, let them know that they can be who they are. Sustaining part for me is knowing that I don't have to hide who I am. And that's something that perhaps younger women in our group may not have really experienced in the same way. I didn't really come into my full exposure, unmuting myself until I was close to 60. And it's been the last 50 years really that's given me that opportunity to really allow other people, give other people permission to say who they are, to express their individuality, their once they shine their purpose, they don't even have to know what their purpose is. They're shining it all the time. Even if you don't know what it is, doesn't matter because you're always being led to it. And I think that's what sustains is that unmuting of who I am, not who I was meant to be, not who I'm going to be, not who I'm becoming, but who I am in any given moment. And it doesn't mean that I'm the same right now as I will be in 10 minutes. What I'm taking away from this conversation changes me. It gives me a different perspective. So for me, I think what sustains me is always being aware that there is a new perspective, but that perspective only defines me in the moments that it's there. And then that perspective changes because everything, my timeline just changed because of the perspective. So Helen says she hopes to have another 40 years. Honey, I had those 40 years and now I'm moving beyond them. So I'm not restricted by a timeline. I know that my timeline is whatever it's going to be for however many years or days or years or moments I have it. So what sustains me is the fact that I'm alive at this very moment. I am being impacted by all of you incredible women who are changing my perspective, which is changing my journey, which is affecting my purpose, whatever that is. And I won't know what it is until I get back to where I came from and they're doing my review. They'll, oh, that was what I'm supposed to be doing? I did it? Yay me. That's unmuting myself is my purpose.
Unmuting yourself. I love that.
Yeah, not my purpose, but that's what sustains me. Sorry, not my purpose, but that's what sustains me.
What sustains you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, being so like I am right now in this moment. And to me, it feels like the experience of fully embracing life, being fully alive in this moment, you know, not
Yes.
looking ahead, not looking back, not looking, you know, all the different timelines. It's just embracing life fully. Sky, what sustains you and keeps you in alignment with your mission?
In a sense, sort of also pretty much what everyone else has also mentioned, you know, making sure that, you know, I'm looking after myself and, you know, like as Sue just said, being unmuted because, you know, feeling like you can't be who you are authentically in this time, you know, knowing that full well that, you know, in the next year, in the next 10 minutes, and like, you know, that will change, is exhausting and draining and all of those sort of things, you know. And as well, you know, I've been working, like one of my mentors, you know, she's a human design coach. And I know there's a few human design coaches within this community and that are amazing and stuff. But sort of really like, you know, diving into there and realizing that, you know, everyone is energetically completely different, you know, and honoring that, you know, I'm not, you know, no one person operates the same as the next person, you know, honoring, you know, my own energy system and, you know, when I need rest and when I need to go into a rest cycle, you know, and for all the human design gurus out there, I don't have a working cycle. So being a manifester is like I have massive bursts of energy and then I have massive times of rest and recovery, and honoring that, you know, and being kind to myself to know that, you know, I don't operate like someone with a working sacral does, and that's okay. But also then also teaching, same thing, my clients to sort of honor their energy system and alignment, because that is what's going to sustain you as well. You know, being able to, you know, not run head first into burnout land, you know, because that takes you away from sort of your mission or your purpose, essentially takes you away from who you are, but moving towards into honoring those areas of self and, you know, defined centers, undefined centers, where your energy is, where it's not, and actually just being able to sort of being in that space and just go, you know what, I need to rest today, or I need to do this today. This is what I need today to be able to continue moving forward. You know, and that sort of like really owning that and owning like all of those aspects of who I am is just sort of really what helps sustain me, because that's it. I'm not living in someone else's shadow. I'm not living in for what someone else says I should be doing. It's just like, no, this is what's right for me.
Amazing. Yeah, embracing yourself fully and really being aware of your own energy and how to best support that, and choosing what's most life supportive for you. And what's one of the amazing things that I love about our sacred community at SacredU.Love, that there are so many different ways to sustain yourself, to come in together in community and to embrace knowledge and understanding and each other and that connection to yourself, to each other, to the planet. And there's many different tribes. You mentioned one of them about the Line by Design, and there's so many more. Helen, also, what's the tribe that you do, Helen, about the law of attraction, right?
Mastering the law of attraction. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes. And then there's the blog that I contribute to, and Sue has her group. Sue, tell us a little bit about your group.
My group is called Life Force Activators. A lot about unmuting yourself. And it's really all about finding that God spark inside of you, that makes you essentially who you are. It brings you back to life. It gets you excited about life. And our topics are so varied. If you're a member of SacredU, or even a trial member of SacredU, it's the $1 US, you can go in and take a look at the archives of what Helen's tribe has done, what my tribe has done, and access Jennifer's blogs. You can find out a lot about what we do and how we can do. Life Force Active is all about, you know, helping people excited about their life and come back to themselves, even if they never knew that little perspective that they didn't know, and find one of our conversations.
Awesome. And so much more. And the co-founder is actually here in the room with us too. Sophia Soul, you want to come on and tell us some more about SacredU.Love and how people can connect?
If I can, Jennifer,
There she
like
is.
we're having wonderful internet, it sings with the wonderful solar flares that are around the place. So thank you. Thank you for that. What a wonderful, talking about wonderful, what an amazing panel. I've been sitting here listening in the background and have really enjoyed it. So first of all, before I tell you a little bit about SacredU, can I first of all thank you, Jennifer, who, oh my God, has been in the middle of moving and just arrived at her latest place 2 minutes before she jumped on the computer. I don't think she's even had time to have a cup of tea yet, Jennifer.
Not
So,
yet, right after this.
so thank you. And also thank you to our amazing panelists, Helen, who's jumped in at the last moment because Julie was supposed to join us, but Julie's experiencing no Wi-Fi because she's in severe weather at the moment. So thank you, Helen, for coming in for your very first panel. Looking forward to many, many more. And of course, Claudia, great to see you in our beautiful Sky, and our wonderful Sue, who, yes, is the host of Life Force Activators. And thank you, Rachel, for joining us. Do come back if you're more than welcome. We hold these panels usually once to twice a week. We've got some more coming up next week, which is all about business and energetics, but about, around once to twice a week, we hold these panels as part of SacredU. We're honoured to be able to host these panels where we bring in people from all over the world. And as Sue was saying, and Helen, who's the host of Tribes, we have about 20 tribes in SacredU at the moment where you can join us just for $1. Just come and try out the community. The biggest thing about SacredU, I think, there's lots of things we offer, but the greatest one is community and connection. Sue actually hosts every 2 weeks community connections where we go live for the community, but it's all about connecting with other like-minded, heart-centered people from all over the world. And as part of the $1, you get 2 weeks to trial out not just Helen's tribe, not just Sue's tribe, but any of our other tribes. We have feng shui. We do have human design. Definitely recommend that. Lots of other tribes that you can try out. Then after that, it's just $30 a month, and you can keep trialing out tribes throughout your membership. Right? If you don't like one, that doesn't mean you have to go. You can try out another one. That's what it's all part of. Plus, we have so much more. We've got all our panel discussions and lots of other things that on offer, which we won't go into. But click on the links below these videos and connect with these amazing women. They are incredible. They've taken out an hour, a little bit over an hour of their time to share their wisdom. So thank you. Thank you ever so much. Really, it's been an honor to sit here and listen to everyone. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone that's been part of this, that's been tuning in, that's been watching, and especially for you, Sophia, because none of this would exist without you and your vision for SacredU.Love and bringing together our sacred community and touching lives everywhere. And I mentioned earlier, Australia and Canada. I also want to acknowledge we also have someone from South Africa here too.
Yes.
So literally, bringing in people from all corners of the world. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you. And of course, and for everyone who is watching, do check out Jennifer's blogs too. They're pretty amazing. They're all in the links below. So, and yes, it's an honor to be able to present this for the universe. Thank you. And we're going to stop.